Greetings, friends. The purpose of this vidcast is to demonstrate how to complete the statistical component of the Biostatistics with Hydroponics assignment, demonstrating how to create a graph with the mean and standard deviation error bars, and then completing a t-test. I hope that you will also use this vidcast for future assignments requiring the use of mean and standard deviation error bars and t-tests. So what you can see in front of you here is a graph, a table rather, that I've already created. It has the data, raw data, already entered. What the first step I need to do is to calculate the mean for batch 1. Again, to do that, insert the function of mean or average. To do that, I'm going to select these values for the mean of batch 1. Okay, and then in the space below it, I'm going to insert the function average or mean of these set of values. Okay. Next, the range can be calculated by hand. It's quite easy. Standard deviation for batch 1, function stdev for this set of values, batch 1. Okay. And then the standard deviation for batch 2 can be calculated by selecting this set of values. I now have a nice neat table with the means and standard deviation of the two different batches. Just to regroup, remember that we had to create a hypothesis for this. The hypothesis is that the final growth of the lettuce with the new fertilizer levels, which is batch 1, will be greater than the old level of phosphorus, which is batch 2. Looking at the values right now, it seems to be effective. However, the question is this a statistically significant difference? So before I create my graph, I'm going to clean up this table because I don't need all of these decimal places. So if I right-click on them, format the cells, I'm going to choose number. And I think 2 decimal places is more than sufficient. Alright, much neater, much easier. Alright, using this data, I'm now going to create a simple graph. Insert, column. Lovely. I haven't put an actual title or axis labels yet, but this is a start. I want to put standard deviation error bars, so I'm going to select one of the columns, and then going up to layout, I'll choose error bars. Again, I want custom error bars because we have spent time now calculating standard deviation. So I'm going to move this down so we can see the standard deviation. Custom. To specify the values, the positive standard deviation values are here. And the negative standard deviation values, use the same. And I'm going to select OK. Close this window. Here we go. Now we have a graph of the process data, the two means with error bars of standard deviation. We can tell that the error bars overlap, indicating that they're insignificant. Rather, that there is an insignificant difference between the two groups, despite looking at the means and seeing that there is a difference. What I'm going to do now is go through a t-test, which is another tool we can use to determine statistical significance. What we need to do for a t-test, the first thing we need to do is go to our data section. Now, you should have this data analysis button available. If you do not, it means you haven't activated the add-in. So if you have, hold tight for a second. If you have not, follow along as we complete the add-in. Going back to the file menu, options, there is a button for add-ins. And the add-in I'd like to add is the analysis tool pack. I already have it, but I'll go through it again anyway. I don't want to say OK, I want to run it, so I want to say go. I'm going to choose Analysis Toolpack. OK, and if you didn't have it before, you should now have the Data Analysis button. With this Data Analysis button, you'll be able to calculate t-tests. So, I'm going to click the t-test button. A lot of different statistical analyses. So the one I'm going to choose is down here at the bottom. I have 3 different types of t-tests. I don't have paired, for example, if I tested before and after the same samples. I don't know about the variances, so I'm going to assume unequal variances. So you're going to pick the second last option. 2 samples, batch 1 and batch 2, unequal variances. So I'm going to select that t-test, and that comes a window for the t-test. So I'm going to input the range for batch 1. It's going to be this set of values. I'm going to use those. For variable 2 range, I'm going to use the data from batch 2. I'm not going to touch anything else here except for the output range. What they're asking for here is where would you like the data to go. So I'm going to select, how about this box right here. Select OK, and Bob's your uncle. So let's look at all the data here. There's a lot of information here that's unnecessary. Well, we want to look at 2 significant things. The T critical, this value right here, the T critical is the set of values that you received today in class coming from the T table. So if you were to look up with the degrees of freedom and these values, this is what you would have as the table value. The T stat would be the calculated. And if you remember from class that this value has to be greater than the table value to be significant, well, it's less than. So that tells you that the difference is not statistically significant. Again, confirming what we have here from the overlap. I'm going to ignore these values right here for right now. The last p-value right here is 0.169 repeating. Also in class we discussed how if the value is less than 0.05, it's significant. Well, this value is definitely over 0.05. Again, a third way of confirming that the difference between these 2 values is not statistically significant. Thank you.